It is Monday, September 25th. This is Jaguars Happy Hour. Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by Jet Home Loans. And now, the true inspiration behind Expendables 4, J.P. Shadrick.
And welcome in. It is Jaguars Happy Hour. It is Monday after a Jags loss. Plenty to get to in the 2 hours ahead. 37-17, the final score. Texans over the Jaguars. Issues all over the field for the Jags. All three phases had problems. London is next. Let's take this show international. Falcons and the Bills the next 2 weeks in the UK. We'll keep it real and Fanatics fan questions all coming up on 1010XL, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube as well. Offense with drops and penalties. Defense, not much. Pass rush, special teams had multiple issues. Well, after the game, head coach Doug Peterson was asked about that pass rush, but he turned his answer into a full team response.
Why wasn't it able to get home consistently?
I mean, you can maybe point to several things, but we have to do better. We have to do better. Starts up front. Starts with the offensive line on offense. Starts with the defensive line on defense. It starts right there. Again, I'm going to say this again. We need to coach better. We need to play better. We need to execute better. Whether we are reading our press clippings, we need to get out of our own way right now. We need to evaluate ourselves, beginning with me, and we got to figure out how to win a game.
That's Doug Peterson after the game. We welcome in Pete Prisco and Tony Boselli now, and that was quite a response after the game. Pete, what's up?
He's shell-shocked. I mean, just like any idiot who picked that team to go to the Super Bowl and Trevor to win MVP. I mean, who the heck did that? Some idiot that works for CBS? That would be me. I am astounded. When I saw what was happening before my eyes Sunday, I could not believe it. I could not believe it. I could see if you turned the ball over 5 times and it was an accidental loss, they got abused in every way, shape, or form. It's awful. And when I watched it, I thought to myself, how the hell did I pick that team to go to the Super Bowl? They're bad right now. That's a bad football team. What do they do well? That's the question that needs to be asked. What does that team do well? Tony? Any idea?
We're waiting.
Well, Pete, last week, Pete, you said I talked too much. I was going to let you take the first segment and just go on your rant because I know it was building.
No, I want to hear what you have to say because I think we're both thinking along the same lines.
Yeah, they're not. I mean, I won't say they're not a good team.
Right now, they're not.
Hold on, let me finish. They're not playing like a good team. That doesn't mean they cannot be a good team. Right now, right. Pete, I agree with you 100%. The team, I'll say that the offense I've seen for 3 straight weeks is not a good offense right now. The defense that I've watched is not disruptive. If they're able to get turnovers and fly, because they play hard and they fly around, but there's nothing disruptive. And I thought Sunday they had trouble getting off blocks, and they were, I wouldn't say controlled, but against an offensive line that's one of the weakest in the NFL with 3 or 4 starters out, they couldn't get a rush. They had 4 pressures, 30-plus dropbacks. This is a guy who'd been sacked 11 times, the most in the NFL. This is a running attack that was anemic. And while they did not have great numbers, but there was times when they wanted to run it, they ran it. And so, and offensively, they are way out of sorts. There's not a rhythm. Trevor, to me, looks like he's speeding through things. I don't know if it's because he doesn't trust the line. He's gotten hit a couple times. Whatever. I think sometimes he's trying to do too much. instead of just letting the stuff come to him, because I think he feels like they're underperforming as an offense. This is all my conjecture. The receivers, too many drops, more drops yesterday. The receivers themselves had 3 false starts at home.
Yeah.
Just to explain to everyone listening, whether you're at home or on the road, you know what the receiver's told to do? Look at the ball. If you're a quarter of a second late, nobody cares. But if you're a quarter of a second early, you look silly. Tell me.
Well, Ridley had two, right?
Ridley had 2 and Agnew had 1. Tell me how many times, Pete, you've watched in the history of the entirety of your life, you've watched a game and 3 false start penalties were called on the wide receivers.
Can't remember one. Can't remember one.
I thought about it. I can never recall that happening in my 51 years, and I can remember watching football since I was 5 years old, watching the Broncos and the Cowboys after the 77 season and the Super Bowl. I can't remember ever. And so that tells you it's a team that's not focused. They're not looking at the details. Those are mental errors. Those are mental errors. I thought it was really interesting. Doug came out and dropped the reading their own press clipping line.
Yeah, that's
that
right.
was very telling. So he does not say that unless he is sending a message to everybody.
You know what else?
I'll say, hold on, one last thing, Pete, and then I'll jump in. In the offensive line, the interior 3 again, against a below average group. Now, they ran the ball at times well, but no consistency. They play on the edge too much. What I mean by that, guys are flashing in front of Trevor's face and they're getting pushed, and it's never comfortable. It's very few clean pockets. And even when there's, where Trevor historically at the back half of last year would just shuffle a little bit. Now he's rushing. I thought ETM played his tail off.
Yes.
I wouldn't take that kid out of the game unless he begged for a rest. He's better than Tank Bisbee. He can be trusted because Tank right now needs to learn that he has to earn the trust. Another drop he had that could very well led to an interception. But right now they're out of sorts. I think, here's the good news. The good news is that it's early. And I've said this, and Pete, it's been my mantra. Last year, the San Francisco 49ers were 1-2. You know who they lost to the first 3 weeks of the season, Pete?
The Bears.
The Bears, and guess the second team?
I can't remember. Who was the second team?
The Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
Those are bad teams, and they're still bad teams, by the way. And then they ended up 3-4, Pete. You know what's happened since they were 3-4 last year?
Yeah, they've on a rip. They're ripping wins.
They haven't lost in the regular season. They lost one game when they played without a quarterback in the NFC Championship. And so,
yeah, but they have stars on that team all over the place. Let's not compare it.
So the comparison is early.
Right.
Where you're correct. What they did is their stars played like stars and rallied and started making plays and playing good football. So it's not lost. At 1-2, nothing is decided.
No, but let's go back to the offense real quick. I think a lack of trust on the interior 3 has caused Trevor Lawrence to speed up everything. I think it's sped up the play call. And again, we're on the perimeter all day. Nothing goes down the field. Nothing. There's nothing. The one shot that Ridley dropped.
Yeah, you got to catch it. Got to catch it.
But I sent you guys a play on our text chain.
I saw it.
And that was a perfect – there was another one later on too, but perfect example of what I'm talking about. Trevor there's some push in the inside, but nobody's getting to him. And he immediately throws the out. All he had to do was wait a split hair of a second longer, and he's got Ingram on the corner route for a touchdown. There's nobody near him. Well, later in the game, I come back, and I didn't send you guys that play. Ingram had a wide open touchdown down the field, and he threw a shorter route as well. I think he's being sped up by the interior of the offensive line. Ben Barch is playing awful football, okay? He's not – they might need to make a change there. He's getting overwhelmed. Fortner was a little bit better this week, but still not great. And for all the money they're paying Brandon Sheriff, they should have kept A.J. Cann. I mean, seriously. So when you don't have trust in the interior offensive line, Tony, you know you've talked to many a quarterback. If you can't step, that was always the kryptonite for Tom Brady. If you can't step, you got him. And so I think that's a big problem for Trevor Lawrence. I think it's a big problem with the play calling, which is why they call so much vertical stuff. What was it, 3rd and 9, and they ran that wide receivers, that tight end screen to Strange? Am I wrong? Was that the call?
That's about right. Yep.
What planet is that a good play call when you have Kirk and Ridley and everything and Ingram to get down the field? That's the kind of thing that I think the play call has become a victim and impacted by what's happening on the interior of that offensive line. So now the question becomes, what do you do? Okay, you get Cam Robinson back, you can move literal left guard. But what do you do this week? That's a problem. Grady Jarrett and gang, that's a problem.
That's right. By the way, it was 3rd and 8 and a 4-yard gain to Strange, like early second quarter. Yep. And then there's special teams.
There one right before the 4th and 1. Didn't he have a catch before the somebody? Wasn't that a little quick screen?
Might have been that as well. I mean, there might have been more than one. Seems like there might have been.
They're way too horizontal in offense right now. But here, and one quick thing, I know you got to go to break, and we can talk more about this. Those receivers did a poor job of sitting in the zones. I mean, they ran right into coverage. They have to sit in zones. They have to be able to, when you run your route, if there's a guy there, you got to sit down. Ridley did it about 4 or 5 times. He ran right into the defensive back. You can't. That tells me, and that's what you're talking about, Tony. Press clippings. Are they putting the work in to understand where they're supposed to go? Because that's all. The Texans played zone the entire game. They didn't play any man. They were without their corners. They played zone, and those guys didn't sit down. They ran. I just think that the press clipping comment is accurate. And didn't somebody else say they need to get away from Jacksonville for this might be good for them?
Yeah.
Well, that tells you that guys aren't. Who said that,
I
JP?
forget. It was, I think a few players were asked that, and there was a couple of similar responses. Might have been Christian Kirk. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, yeah, we need to go to London for 2 weeks to get better. I mean, are we serious with that? I just think that the whole thing right now is unraveling, and if they don't get it back together, it's going to unravel. Luckily, they're in a crappy division.
All right, let's come back. We left out special teams. We've got plenty of time to get to that, Tony, coming up.
Well, when we come back, JP, let's talk about. I don't know what I didn't read your notes again, but I'm not sure what the next segment is supposed to be. But we should talk about the special teams because that's one of the more embarrassing moments, shall I say, in the history of this franchise. I also want to have a conversation with the two of you. Where does the help come from? And I'm not saying going to find somebody else, but who on this team has the ability to step up and change the dynamic? Because typically, Pete, you know as well as I do, that's what happens. Maybe it's one guy or it's a group of guys that just say enough's enough. This is not who we are. Who are those guys? And do they have the ability to do it? Because something has to change. Because if you keep on doing what you're doing, you're going to be 5-12, 6-11, whatever it is, and it's not going to be good. Now, I don't think that's who this team is, and I'm not saying people all of a sudden have to play like the Incredible Hulk and Superman, but you got to change what you're doing, and maybe that's changing your approach, changing your preparation, changing your mentality. I don't know. But I want to talk about that further.
Yeah, we can do that, Tony. You know what? We'll do that. That's a good idea. Producer Tony from somewhere in Europe bringing the heat tonight. All right, we're underway. We've got plenty ahead, of course. And Jags fans want customized Jaguars furniture for your home. Check out zipchair.com. and browse all customizable options, Zip Chair furniture for fans. Coming up in the second hour at 5 o'clock, we've got the Fanatics fan questions and plenty more. Of course, we're going to keep it real, as we always do. 37-17 the final. The Texans over the Jaguars. We're recapping it on Jaguars Happy Hour, presented by Jet Home Loans.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dreamfinders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
Are you ready to elevate your tailgate experience, Jaguars fans? Citrus Distillers, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is excited to announce the 2023 Jaguars Limited Edition Whiskey Bottle. Now available at Total Wine and other participating retailers. Elevate your tailgate experience, Jaguars fans. The 2023 Jaguars Limited Edition Whiskey Bottle. Duval!
When it comes to water, choose our team, the winning team. Choose CGC Water Treatment. CGC Water Treatment works, and it works for DG, too. Former Jags QB, David Garrard.
If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Discover the Kinetico difference.
Call CGC Water Treatment at 844-CGC-JAGS or visit cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars and your local independent Kinetico dealers.
Cancer patients across the Southeast make Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center in Jacksonville their first choice for treatment. Dr. Jonathan Melquist explains why.
We have so many resources that can help a patient from the very onset, and we just have a degree of unity and cohesive care that is hard to match. It's especially with the tougher cancers that we really excel.
Appointments available now. Call 844-632-2278.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium, because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit Barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Reconnect with the best version of you at Amara Med Spa, Northeast Florida's premier luxury medical spa, located in Ponte Vedra, Town Center, Avondale, St. Augustine, and Fernandina. With the most advanced injectors, estheticians, and technology, Amara Med Spa is redefining beauty, offering services such as Botox and filler, M-Sculpt Neo, painless laser hair removal, and advanced skincare treatments. Visit theamaramedspa.com and book a complimentary consultation today.
I grabbed him actually, coming off the field, and I just reiterated to him that, take a deep breath, stay locked in, stay engaged. I told him he was a big part of our system and the offense, and he's going to have a lot of success. And just wanted to reiterate that confidence in him. Excuse me, and really, and Trevor does a great job of that too, of getting with those guys. And Calvin wants to do so well, so good, so much. He wants to prove, and he doesn't have to. He's a good player, and he doesn't have to do all. Just be Calvin, and so those are the things that we're trying to just get him to do. Just relax, focus on his job and the plays that have his number attached to him.
Doug Peterson today in his day after press conference Monday at the Miller Electric Center, discussing Calvin Ridley's day yesterday. Ridley in the game, 7 targets, 3 catches, 40 yards, had a couple drops, couple false starts as well. Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Jet Home Loans. J.P. Shadrick from the Hyundai Studios at the Miller Electric Center. On the couch today, Pete Prisco down in South Florida. Tony is somewhere in Europe ahead of the Jaguars trip to London this week. The Jags play at Wembley this Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons. All right, let's start with Ridley. We'll get to the special team stuff coming up in a little bit. But, I asked Doug the question today, how do you as a coach, and he's you think a high-caliber receiver, do you go to him during the game when he's struggling like that? Do you let him work on it on his own? That was his answer. No, he went to him and trying to keep his head about his receiver, and they will need him at some point and to step up big. That was the big storyline this offseason.
Well, Pete, I wonder, remember in Atlanta, Calvin Ridley was not the number one. It was Julio Jones. Now, Calvin Ridley played like a number one in Atlanta, but Pete, correct me if I'm wrong, you covered the league.
No, it was. You're right. Julio was, when he first came in, and he credits Julio for actually helping him become a good player.
Yeah, and I don't say that to take anything away from Calvin Ridley. I wonder, with him being the guy now, the number one alpha dog for the first time in his career, is he pressing and trying to be more than he needs to be? Because he's, like, to Doug's point, he's a good player. I mean, Calvin really didn't forget how to play football. I mean, we've seen what he can do. We've seen it in camp. We saw it, early in the season. First half of the Colts game. I mean, you see him run. I mean, so we know it's in there, and he has it. I wonder if this is I'm the number one guy. It's a contract year. It's all these things that he should not be worrying about entering into between the ears, and he's just pressing. Like what I saw, I mean, he had 2 drops, 1 touchdown. The other was for he bobbled. It would have been a huge first down in the game, and we needed every first down we could get. And he had 2 false starts.
And there was a route late in the game where it didn't look like the way he runs his routes. He runs them fast and violently and everything. And there was one where it looked like he was like, okay, maybe not so fast on that route. I don't know if you remember it. It was in the middle of the field. There was a single safety, and he kind of ran right at him. And he did that a lot on Sunday. So you might be onto something, Tony, because the year he caught 90 balls, Julio played 9 games that year. So kind of at the end, when he wasn't there, he was the number one receiver. But you're not the number one receiver as the number one receiver. You're the number one receiver because of injury.
He's never when Julio was out, when Julio walked in the room, Julio was the number one guy.
Correct. And so to be the number one receiver, you have to learn how to handle to being the number one receiver, which means the attention goes to you. And that's always the challenge for good receivers to become great receivers. You hear that all the time when you talk to receivers and corners around the league. How does the guy handle being the one? Does he adjust to the doubles? Does he adjust to being pressed? Does he adjust to get the top corner? That's how you become a great receiver, is you go from being a really good one to a number one, and great one is handling all that stuff. And so far, you'd have to say you hadn't handled it very well.
Well,
we were sitting here, and believe me, I had people that in that building that I respect greatly in the summer that were telling me he was a combination of Jimmy Smith and others, and Marvin Harrison, and then you haven't seen that at all.
First half of the Indy game, and then second half, nothing, not much.
Yeah, I mean,
and he didn't do anything against the Chiefs, and he didn't do anything yesterday.
Right. Right.
And so it's not, I mean, when I say that, so it's not that he doesn't have number one receiver talent. He does. He's off the charts. The question is he just pressing right now? Because players will press. You feel the weight, you got a lot going on, there's a bunch of things in your head, and you're trying, and you're trying to prove that you're that guy. Instead of just being that guy. Like, let your play determine. I mean, because you know this as well as I do. You can't make yourself a number one receiver or the best at any position or anything else like that. You either have it or not. I mean, you can train, you can work hard, you have to put the work in. But when you try you start pressing, you start doing silly things and you lose focus and concentration. And I appreciate what Julio said when someone asked him about his confidence, and he got snippety, which I don't blame him. But he said it's not confidence, it's concentration. Well, when you're worried about the wrong things, that's where concentration becomes an issue.
Well, you were around for the greatest receiver, the birth of the greatest receiver in the franchise history, because Jimmy was and also ran for right. He was a special teams guy. He flashed at times.
Yeah, his rookie, my rookie year, '95, which was like his third year, first year full time on a roster, if I'm not mistaken, because of injuries and other things. He was the kick returner, and he's a special teams gunner. And would cover kicks, and he was the number 5 receiver on the roster.
And then he had like a game late that season. Was it against Denver maybe where he caught some balls? But then as he came through the next year.
So hold on. The next year, he is the 4th receiver.
Yeah.
Keenan McCardell comes in. He's the one. We signed Andre Rison. Andre thought he was the one. So it was who's going to be number 1? And then Willie Jackson was the 3rd, and then Jimmy was the 4th.
Right.
And Jimmy caught a handful of balls, and he played. And then all of a sudden, week 9, we cut Andre Rison on a Monday morning. And setting aside the locker room drama that, I think it was one of the few days Pete's like, maybe I should just stay out of that locker room today. I don't want to deal with those guys.
No, I enjoyed that day.
Yeah, I know you did. And that was the birth of Jimmy Receiver as the best Jaguar receiver ever. And
but when he started, he didn't know he was. And so
no, that's my point.
When did he know he was?
No, he didn't. He was just playing football. His talent.
Right.
Became.
When did you know? When do you think a guy knows he's the number 1 wide receiver? Like, because Keenan was Keenan went to the Pro Bowl in '96. So
yeah,
when did
it was me, Keenan, and Mark, and Keenan made it. He was the best player on our team probably, and he was the number 1 receiver. Everyone knew Keenan was a receiver. Come back in '97, and it's just quite obvious that Jimmy's the best receiver on the team. And then by 98, 99, there was no doubt he was the number 1 guy. And it was basically, if we had single high safety, we were checking a pass and we were throwing it to Jimmy because nobody. And so I don't know when in his mind, he was it. But what determined him being the number 1 guy
talent
was his play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, and I'm not saying Calvin Ridley's is as good as Jimmy Smith's talent. I mean, they're 2 different players. But Calvin Ridley has number 1 receiver talent.
No doubt.
He's just got to go play.
Right. Just forget about the contract. Forget about being the number 1 guy. Just go make plays.
Hey, do you feel like they're forcing it to him too much?
They did in the first week. They did. The first week they did against the Colts. They did.
No,
but
I don't think
did.
So. No, I said
he had Kirk a couple times, and he threw to Ridley, forced it to.
I said, I was not disagreeing with your point on week 1. I don't think they forced it to him yesterday.
No, I don't either. Not at all.
I mean, they were there. They were open.
Here's a weird NFL. You've been around it. You played in it, Tony. JP, you've been around it. If he catches that touchdown pass on the opening drive, is it a different game? Right?
The Jaguars might win by 21.
It's so weird. And then he drops it, and you get the special teams disasters, and next thing you know, you're.
Pete, I remember as a player, Tom Coughlin, this was early, maybe my rookie year, and I remember him saying at a team meeting that 5 or 6 plays determine the outcome of an NFL game, and you just don't know what 5 or 6 they are. And I used to think, I'm like, you're a crazy old, what are you talking about? But then you're around it enough.
Yep.
And you play it, and then you watch it, or you cover it like you guys do and I do now. And you're like, you know what? There's 5 or 6 plays that determine the outcome, and you don't know which ones they are.
It depends what they are. I mean, the different kind of plays will determine which of the outcome it's going to be, too. Like, I'll give you an example. I know we're getting off the tangent here. Last week, and I told you this, I think, on the show, the Broncos were winning 21-3 against Washington. There was a fumble. Russell Wilson fumbled it. He didn't reach to try and recover it. He stared at it. Yeah. Washington recovers, goes down 21-11. Has that team been the same since? They got a 70 burger put on them on Sunday. those are the kind of things that, and when it goes bad, Tony, you've been around that. It mushrooms. It goes bad. There's nothing you can do to get out from underneath it either.
It's like an avalanche. It starts with a little snowball. Next thing you know, the whole mountain's coming on top of you.
That's what happened on Sunday to the Jaguars. It didn't stop. None of it.
And by the way, when I say 5 or 6 plays, I'm not blaming the loss in Calvin Ridley.
No.
You can line up all 48 guys who are active, and each of them had partook.
Well, you had a couple busts in the secondary. You have there's a million plays you could look at. The fumble when he's trying to get back into it. I mean, there's a million plays.
All right, we'll go through a lot of those plays. The rest of the show coming up. Defensive talk. They didn't get much of a finger on Stroud. We'll get to that coming up. Special teams. And the Jaguars are no longer in first place in the AFC South. We'll go through the division standings, and the power rankings should be interesting tonight. That's all coming up. And then in the second hour, Fanatics fan questions, and we will keep it real. The Jaguars and the Texans. We're recapping the game yesterday. Texans a 20-point winner over the Jaguars. Sign up your furry friend for the Jaguars official full-legged fan club for pets. Presented by Forever Vets Animal Hospital. Your pet will receive access to exclusive merchandise, events, and sweepstakes throughout the season. Visit jaguars.com/promotion/four-legged fan club and sign up today. This is Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Jet Home Loans.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dream Finders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dream Finders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dream Finders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamFindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
Football and Miller Lite. Duval's greatest pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going well past postgame. Sunday night overtime. Followed by Monday morning pride. Knocking on bar tops for luck. Kicking back on any given Sunday. You never forget the way some things taste. Jags football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com. The world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything. The kick is up. It's good!
Score winning sub deals this Jaguars regular season at Firehouse Subs. Get 2 medium subs for just $10 after any game when the Jaguars kick a field goal of 40 yards or more. It's a bold deal for the bold city. Sign up at firehousesubs.com/fieldgoals for Firehouse for offer details and to automatically receive this offer when you use your Firehouse Subs rewards account. Redeemable only at participating Jacksonville and Orlando area restaurants. Only available on the Firehouse Subs app and online ordering. Hey, Jags fans, stop dreaming of creating your game day fan cave and build the Jaguars den of your dreams with ZipChair. When it comes to maximum comfort, ZipChair.com is the only place for officially licensed Jaguars recliners, sofas, bar stools, office and gaming chairs, all featuring high-quality embroidered Jags logos. Crack open a few cold ones in the comfort of a ZipChair and make your home the place to be on game day. Head over to ZipChair.com and save 20% today. Use code JagsRadio at checkout. ZipChair.com, furniture for fans.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Preparation, when you look at all 3 phases, I think it's just preparation.
no one is going to come. Communication, I know, obviously you can see on the offensive side, special teams, whatever, but defensively, communication was not up to our standard. And so we did those things that we can improve on. We know that moving forward, but, you can't do that. We, like you said, man, we want to be who we know we can be. We can't be making those errors.
Josh Allen, Jaguars outside linebacker after yesterday's loss to the Houston Texans, and Allen with 2 tackles, 3 of the 4 quarterback hits on C.J. Stroud. It's Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Jet Home Loans from the Hyundai Studios. J.P. Shadrick inside the Miller Electric Center. Pete Prisco, Tony Boselli recapping this one on 1010XL, AMJaguars.com, and Jaguars YouTube. Yeah, 4 hits on a quarterback that had been hit 19 times in the first 2 games of the season. Sacked 11 times. The Jaguars sacked him exactly none, 0 in the game. And Stroud looked poised. Even when there was a little pressure, the pocket might have been squeezing a little bit. He would slide and find a way to get it out. And hey, the Jags pass rush just wasn't there, Pete, yet again. And this is not trending the right way. I'll say that.
Well, I texted you guys this today. They have a high draft pick, the number 1 overall pick on Trayvon Walker. They have a first-round pick on Devin Lloyd. They have a top 10 pick on Josh Allen. Of those 3, Josh Allen at least flashes once in a while and makes some plays. Trayvon Walker made a play in the run game, I think. Pass rush, non-existent. Devin Lloyd, he gets blocked. When was the last time you went, oh my God, what a great play by that middle linebacker? If he had picked off the ball that he should have intercepted, maybe. But I just don't see the impact plays. Then Muma comes in, another guy you drafted at a position where you had 40 of them, and all he does is get blocked the entire time too. It's amazing to me the lack of production from guys. We talked about this all year, all offseason. Year 1 to year 2, growth. That was going to be the biggest difference in the defense. These guys are going to grow up. They're going to become players. Is any one of them any better? Is Devin Lloyd maybe a little bit better because he knows where to line up, but he's not flashing? Trayvon Walker? Oh, he plays hard. He plays the run well. That's not why you drafted him 1 overall. And Muma, when he did come in, was blocked the entire time. So I think when you look at it, that's the problem. The year 1 to year 2 guys haven't done much from year 1 to year 2. The year 2 to year 3, I mean, don't you agree?
Yeah, I don't think. I don't think they played well yesterday. I mean, I think to your point, Muma got blocked quite a bit. I thought in coverage, there was one that jumped out at me on the 12. What's 12's name for the Texans? Good player. I can't even think of it right now. Receiver. Nico Collins. He ended the half when they ended up getting 3 more that they never should have gotten. He runs a crossing route, and Muma did not look good in space. Like, Lucan takes one. I'm assuming he has Nico Collins coming across the middle. He catches it. He should have come up and tackled him for little no gain, and he runs right by him and multiple other. I'm not putting it all on him because he ran by a bunch of guys who ran through tackles. But setting aside, Pete, I think the more interesting conversation to me is whether no one played well, so them included. But here's the big thing. Last year, did anyone on this radio show, I'll just keep it to the 3 of us, think that the defense was our strength?
No.
Now, they had flash moments late where they would take the ball away, right?
Okay, but was it a strength? Were we great at rush passer?
No.
Was there? Okay. No. This offseason, and Trent's the GM, so I'm assuming it was Trent. I'm sure Doug had say in it, but our GM and scouts and the leadership and Doug put everyone in, whoever it was, however the decision was made. I don't know how those are made. decided to make 0 investments on the defense side of the ball in free agency and no meaningful investment in the draft on the defense side of the ball. What they were betting on, they were making a bet. In fact, I would argue they lost. They went backwards from a personnel standpoint from last year's team because they lost Arden Key, who was one of the better pass rushers. And they knew that Dwan Smoot would not be back until later this year, who for a stretch was the best pass rusher on the team as well. Those guys were some of the more productive players. And so you lose Smoot to an injury, you lose Arden Key to free agency, and you do nothing. You don't really replace either of those guys, and you make no meaningful investments. And they were betting that the year one players the year one players would take a big jump and be the players that they drafted them to be, and they'd be dominant. Trayvon Walker, Muma, Devin Lloyd, that those guys would be staples on this defense, and they didn't make any bets to bring anyone new in because they're making a bet on the guys they drafted the year before. And some of the free agents they had the year before because, they figured Fadakasi would be healthy, that Darius Williams would be better because they moved him outside, like was trending in the end of the year. And right now, Pete, what you're saying is those bets aren't landing, aren't paying off.
But
it's still early.
Right, but if you drafted the right guys or the right guy, you might not be saying that.
Like who, Pete?
No, but
if Trayvon Walker, if Trayvon Walker was dumping people for 3 and 4, putting pressure on guys, 4 and 5 times a game, and or 3 or 4 times a game, and getting a couple sacks here and there, you wouldn't even be having this conversation.
Right.
And at some point, Tony, we've said it time and again too. He plays the run well. He plays hard. He's a good football player. That ain't enough for the number 1 overall pick. I mean, I showed you a play. I sent you a play when he looped from the outside in. What the hell was that? You saw it? Yeah. What do you think of that play?
Wasn't very physical.
When a running back is there waiting for you, you blast him and send him into the quarterback.
Yeah, but Pete, it's one play. I guess my point.
I know, but it's just he's a good, tough, physical football player who wasn't physical on that play.
But Pete, am I describing this wrong? I mean, that's the bet Trent Baalke and Doug basically made.
No, you're right. That's the year 1 to year 2 that we talk about all the time.
We did nothing. Our investment this offseason was all offense.
They got Michael Dogby as a free agent, didn't they?
Okay, again, let me go through this. We got Calvin Ridley in a trade. First round pick Anton Harrison. Second round pick was we even have
the tight end.
Strange.
The tight end Strange. Third round pick Tank Bigsby. Fourth round pick I can't remember.
Well, the 5th was Abdullah.
Yeah, Abdullah was the 5th round.
5th was Abdullah.
The linebacker Miller from Florida was the 4th.
Okay, Vontae Miller. So we didn't do anything on the defensive side of the ball.
He wasn't going to play anyways.
Right.
Pick the guy
Tyler Lacey. Tyler Lacey was in the 4th round.
But wasn't Vontae Miller in the 4th round?
I think they were both in the 4th round, yes.
Okay, so Vontae Miller, you picked him in the 4th round even though he had no chance of playing. 0 chance. So, Tony, are you criticizing the draft strategy?
I'm not. I guess I'm not really. I'm just. I mean, it's less of a criticism, Pete. It's kind of is what it is. That's the bet you made.
So the next question is, how does it improve? Can they? It's week 3, going into week 4. Is it on the coaching? Is it on the players themselves now to get it right?
One last thing about that, JP.
Yeah.
The bet they made for this season was because of the bet they made last season. You're a GM and you used the number 1 overall pick on Trayvon Walker, and you used the first round pick. You went back in to go get Devin Lloyd. You're thinking in your mind that they are big time stars and they're going to take the next step. So you didn't do anything this year because you did what you did the year before. So You could be criticized for both of them.
And Pete, and you spent a bunch of free agent capital last year on defense too, with Fatukasi, Aluakon, and Darius Williams.
Correct.
And Rayshon Jenkins. No, Jenkins was the year before, I think.
Right. But still, you're talking about a lot of money invested on that side of the ball, a lot of draft capital invested on that side of the ball, and they're not getting bang for the buck, particularly when it comes to rushing the passer. But you had coverage busts too. I mean, those are, I don't know. I think Doug said today one was either Rayshon Jenkins. What was he doing? He was dropped down and tried to hightail it to the back end and couldn't get there because it was a miscommunication there. He said they were both down, but they weren't both down. Rayshon Jenkins was down and tried to get to the back. He couldn't do it. Then on the other one, Darius Williams, one of them both went to the wrong guy. And so miscommunication, I think that's what you're talking about, Tony, when he's pointing all that stuff out about kind of accountability. Those are not physical getting beat mistakes. Those are mental mistakes. Not sitting down in your zone, mental mistakes. Jumping off sides as a wide receiver, mental mistakes. I mean, it's just. But I will say this though, as it relates to physicality, the Texans were the much more physical team. When you watch that tape, you notice guys flying around. Jimmy Ward played great. I thought he was all over the place, and they fly to. They're not overly talented on that side of the ball. They fly to the football.
Agreed. I agree with you, Pete. And to JP, to your question, so what do you do?
Yeah.
Who's responsible? Coach, players, all of them. A coach's job is to design a game plan and schemes on both sides of the ball to maximize the guys you have's talent to give you the best chance to win. That's their job. The guys on the field, their job is to go execute and go beat the hell out of the guy in front of them, or go cover the guy in front of them, or go beat whatever it means, and to execute their job. And so it's both have to do better, and I think that's what Doug said. As a player, I lean and put more of the onus on the players, because I've always thought this is a players' league, and players got to go play. Pete and I joke all the time about it's not about X's and O's, it's about Jimmys and Joes. And not that X's and O's aren't important. I mean, we saw what leadership does in this place, getting Doug Peterson hired. Great leader, great head coach. So that matters a ton. But it's guys got to go play. And I think let's start with the defensive side of the ball. Unless something changes, it doesn't look like we're going to win a lot of one-on-one matchups. And the best guy who has a chance to do that is Josh Allen. He had 3 of the 4 pressures yesterday, and he was basically playing on one arm. So
he was still the best pass rusher.
He was still the best pass. So outside of Josh Allen, there's not many guys who are going to win on one-on-one. Roy Robinson Harris will push the pocket. He had some good bull rushes to squeeze it, but we do not have a dynamic pass rusher. And while Josh is our best, he's not disruptive. He's not a guy at this so far, what we've seen so far, who's going to line up and just beat you one-on-one, and that tackle's losing sleep the night before the game.
Like T.J. Watt does.
Yeah, or Von Miller when,
Right. Yeah, that's not what he is.
No.
Not.
Or Max Crosby or any of the guys that can do
Max
it.
Crosby or Joey Bosa or
Nick Bosa or right.
Yeah.
No.
That's what it is. Hey, let's come back. Special teams when we return. AFC South power rankings when we return. Ooh. A lot of faces being made on this show today. And rightly so. 37-17. Texans over the Jaguars. If you're looking for the MVP of the truck game, look no further than Ford F-150, loaded with impressive capability and designed to dominate work, play, and everything in between. This truck makes tough look easy. Your local Ford dealer, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Jet Home Loans.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dreamfinders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
Are you ready to elevate your tailgate experience, Jaguars fans? Citrus Distillers, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is excited to announce the 2023 Jaguars Limited Edition Whiskey Bottle. Now available at Total Wine and other participating retailers. Elevate your tailgate experience, Jaguars fans. The 2023 Jaguars Limited Edition Whiskey Bottle. Duval!
The 2023 season is awesome. Introducing the Four-Legged Fan Club, the Jaguars' official fan club for pets. Presented by Forever Vets Animal Hospital, your furry friend can access exclusive merchandise, events, and sweepstakes throughout the season. Fan club members will be automatically entered to win the Pet of the Game sweepstakes with 2 Jags tickets and sideline passes for pet owners and the chance for your pet to be featured on the video boards as Pet of the Game. Visit jaguars.com/promotions/Four-Legged Fan Club to sign up.
It's time for sunshine and summer showers, so it's more important than ever to make sure you call Crystal Clean for all your waterproofing needs. Waterproofing can extend the life of your building by keeping water outside where it belongs. And that Florida sun can beat up your business's paint job. Crystal Clean's painting services can bring your building back to life. From waterproofing to painting, schedule Crystal Clean today. Call 904-220-3337 or go to crystalclean.com. You don't have to worry when it's Crystal Clean.
Tackle your marketing needs with Kessler Creative. Providing direct mail services for more than a decade, Kessler has a wide range of services from small mailers to large banners and signs. Draft Kessler as your first pick to receive the best targeted mail list. Elevate your business and be on the winning team with Kessler Creative. Kessler Creative, results-driven marketing and proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gates frequent shopper clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
You know, I think that's real. I do. I think that's real. And I've been around this game too long to know that you can't live in the past, or you're gonna fail in the future. And we've just got to focus one day at a time. We got to get better each day, and can't worry about next week or the week after. Can't worry about the London trip coming up. We can't. We just got to focus in on the week at hand, and that part of it starts with me and making sure that the guys are, hearing that message, loud and clear from me, and I'll make sure that they get that message.
Doug Peterson asked if after the game yesterday if the Jaguars were reading the headlines a little too much. Of course, he's elaborated since then. And welcome back. It is Jaguars Happy Hour on 1010XL AM. Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube.
How did he elaborate, JP?
Well, I mean, he said it again today. I mean, he said, yeah, maybe they're reading the clippings, right? He just kept talking about that. So he was asked.
He thinks they got a little too full of themselves.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like he's saying it in a nice way. Yeah. Well, he's basically saying this team hasn't done anything. Last year's over. Last year's not going to help you this year. And they've got to figure it out now. And this is... and that's a nice way of doing it. Apparently got into him at halftime during the game from all kind of the stories you hear after the game, and let him know today in no uncertain terms how it was yesterday, I think, from the tone that Doug Peterson gave today, and certainly on the special teams portion of the football game yesterday. A missed field goal from McManus pushed it, about 7 yards wide right. a blocked field goal between the guard and tackle on the left side. Will Anderson got his two big hands on it.
It was actually the tight end and tackle.
Oh, was it further out? It was further out. Got it. Okay, Tony.
I think Walker Little plays tight end in the field goal protection.
Okay, fair enough. From the left and a little further out than I thought.
Yeah, and those are usually embarrassing plays for special teams, but it ain't as embarrassing as the next one you're going to bring up.
Here we go. The 85-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. It hit the up man, you would call him, in front of the returner. They tried a mortar kick, and it worked out because it was chaos for the Texans. He fumbled it, recovered it at the 15, broke contain, missed a tackle, Trey Herndon. He outran the kicker, and then he outran a running back. He's at the 20. He's at the 10. He's gone. Touchdown, Texans.
They let Tony Boselli return a kick for a touchdown. That's what that guy looked like right there. He's the fullback. It's incredible. He's the fullback.
It's an all-timer, Pete.
Okay, let's start with the decision for the mortar kick. What's the thinking behind that?
I think it's just to pin them deep because they felt like the coverage units were playing pretty well.
If you could play the kick again, and I watched it on the All-22, there wasn't a Jacksonville player across the 30 when he first went to catch the football at the 10. So just using the force of nature, if he catches it, he's probably going to be at the 20, 21, 22-yard line. Is it worth it? Just kick the damn ball out of the end zone and make him start at the 25. What is the rationale behind that? Or did he not get the ball deep enough on the mortar kick? Is that a possibility?
No, they said today that it was executed. So,
well, they need to execute that out of the playbook because it just kicked the damn ball out of the end zone. I mean, seriously, I just want to, just for the argument's sake here, what is to be gained from that?
Well, we'll come back and discuss.
You pin him back inside the 20, Pete. That's
Tony,
what the game.
He caught the ball at the 10. If he doesn't drop it, they didn't have a player over the 30. So let's assume they meet somewhere. That's the guy's going to get a couple of yards after they meet. So he's going to get to the 20, 22 anyways. So for 3 or 4 yards, you're risking that?
Coming up, second hour, we'll discuss it further on Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Jet Home Loans.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans.
Focus on the highlights, but you definitely coach.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a...
With the most advanced injectors, estheticians, and technology, Amara Med Spa is redefining beauty. Offering services such as Botox and filler, M-Sculpt Neo, painless laser hair removal, and advanced skincare treatments. Visit theamaramedspa.com and book a complimentary consultation today.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit Barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
As the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Publix is helping fans gear up for game day with the limited-time Jaguars sub. Piled high with hot deli chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, cheddar cheese, coleslaw, and barbecue mayonnaise on a white sub roll. The Jaguars sub is an easy, delicious meal for any fan. Make it an ultimate game day by ordering the Jaguars sub online for in-store pickup. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Hello, I'm Dan Fields. If you're in the market for a full-size 8-passenger SUV, look no further than the Defender 130. And with the Defender 90, the 110, and this 130, there's luxury in the right size for everyone. Right, Sammy?
Plus, when you buy or lease from Land Rover Jacksonville, you'll become a member of the Fields Amenities Program with complimentary loaners, car washes, our cafe, and much more, all at no charge.
Focus on the highlights, but you definitely coach it all. That's why days like today are so important with the guys in the building to be able to show the mistakes and make those corrections today, before we hit the practice field again on Wednesday. And then, you have to show the good, the bad, the ugly, to the players and my job is to paint the picture. I mean, this is where we are. This is not who we want to be. And this is where we're going. And, all that stuff is still right in front of us.
Head coach Doug Peterson earlier today is Monday, day after press conference, the day after a 20-point loss to the Houston Texans, 37-17. Welcome into the second hour of Jaguars Happy Hour. Is presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings. J.P. Shadrick from the Hyundai Studios. Mr. Chubby's today brought, I think those were sweet and sour boneless wings, and they brought a chicken wrap. So great stuff for our production staff here.
Are you the only one there? So you must have a spread in front of you, JP.
Well, you can't see the entire screen if you're watching on Jaguars.com. There may be a smorgasbord of sorts. It's okay. It's good to have that each and every Monday. That's Pete Prisco, Tony Boselli, recapping this when we wrapped up the first hour in the middle of a heated special teams discussion. I didn't mind the mortar kick. Pete hates it. Tony, where are you on it?
Indifferent. Execute the play.
But what is your end game from getting it?
If you execute it, I see them teams do it all the time. They've done it countless times. You get them down inside the 20. It's a changeup.
Okay, but that one wasn't going to be inside the 20 the way it was kicked.
I'm not saying it was. It didn't execute any part of it.
They said he executed. JP said they executed.
The kick was right. It was, yes, right there at the 10.
Fine, but the guys weren't down there. Pete, we let a fullback return a touchdown 86 yards. What part was executed properly?
No, I'm saying even if you executed it properly, you're going to be at the 20.
Better than 25.
Is that worth 5 yards? The risk of it?
People do it all the time, Pete. Change up. You're missing the point.
You're missing the point. Get the damn ball out of the end zone and play football.
It's not. That is part of football. Kicking off is part of football.
Not for long.
Is that why you have a kicker with a big leg to kick the ball out of the back of the end zone?
My point is, Pete, is the 10 guys out there, or 11 guards, I'll even put the kicker there, should never in the NFL allow a fullback to return a kick 86 yards. I don't care where you kick it.
Right. I agree with you. It was terrible, but I know one way that they would have prevented that from happening.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Kick it out of the back of the end zone.
I admit you're right on that point, Pete. However, I think they executed the kick well. The coverage was not executed.
The risk reward isn't worth it. It's just not worth it.
Well, that changed the entire game because the Jags were back within 7 at that point. That takes it back to 14, and good night and good luck the rest of the way.
Then again, if you pin him in there with your 85 Bears defense, that might be good strategy.
Thank you, Pete. That, of course, one of the issues. All three phases with issues in yesterday's loss. That was just part of the special teams day. A missed field goal, a blocked field goal. The offense had drops and penalties throughout the day. Ran the ball okay, just not enough to carry them over the finish line. And then 0 pass rush from the Jaguars defense and issues on the back end. So now the Jaguars searching for answers, and it's time to take this show international. The Jaguars visit Wembley Stadium and the Atlanta Falcons. 2 weeks in London, by the way. Falcons this week, of course, and then at the Bills at Tottenham Hotspur in Week 5. This is the Jaguars' 10th London game coming up, the 9th at Wembley. The Jags trying to snap a 3-game skid under the arch at Wembley. The last win in that stadium was 2017. They lost 18, 19, and 22. No game in 20. They won at Tottenham Hotspur in 21. So, moving it forward. Tony, you started the show with this idea, and let's follow it up now. Who are the guys to step up and turn this thing around on the Jaguars roster right now? Who are you counting on of the 53 to make sure this doesn't happen anymore?
I mean, I think it starts with Trevor Lawrence in the offense, and then if I'm going deeper on the offense, I'll say this: the offensive line and Trevor Lawrence can solve this whole thing. If you can play good, if you can control the line of scrimmage, and you have a high level of quarterback play, you're tough to beat. Do you disagree with that?
No. Yeah, it starts with him. It has to start with him.
I mean, and so that's where I start on offensive line and Trevor. And then defense, you're going to have to, I mean, until further notice, you're going to have to blitz, you're going to have to take chances, but this team's not set up to blitz because they don't play man coverage in the back end very well.
How do you, when you talk about what you want them to do is just send 6 sometimes?
No,
Ideally, you don't want him to ever do that, but
outside of playing really good, I mean, outside of rushing the passer better and winning one-on-one, I mean, the answer is then you're going to have 11 guys who are on the same page and run to the ball and play physical and just create turnovers and get stops by just swarming around and just playing great team defense. Because I don't see the one disruptor. I mean, if Josh Allen can step up his game a little bit because he's playing solid right now, can he become that disruptive guy? I mean, outside of that, I think it's 11 guys that are going to have to run around. I think, I think
giving up on Trayvon Walker.
I'm not giving up, Pete. I haven't seen anything that makes me see that it's any different than last year.
Right, and that's what the scary part is. We're 3 games in, and by this time we should be sitting there saying, "Oh, he's a different player," and he's not. If he was,
you didn't see anything in camp though either, Pete.
No, if he was, then you wouldn't have this problem. You wouldn't have this problem.
That's what I go back to. So it's going to take 11 guys, and if I'm looking at all 11 guys, it means you have to be solid up front against the run. And I think probably Luakon's is a key guy to get everyone going. I think he's the leader of that defense.
By the way, didn't Abdullah get a pressure yesterday? Was he credited with one? One of the plays he got. What's that, JP?
I'm taking a look at the official stat sheet. He's not in it, but they do not give pressures are not an official league stat.
Yeah, so I thought he got a pressure, but maybe he was close on one. He got in there,
right.
But I still think, stepping up on defense, it has to be the pass rushers. It has to be. Those are 2. It's the same story every year for everybody. It's the offensive line, the pass rushers, and the quarterback. If they all do their job, then you're not going to have any problems.
But Pete, do you see us being okay? So then you got to play great team defense like they did last year at the end of the year, and they
got a lot of bounces to go their way and stuff too. But I get what you're saying. You gotta hope you turn the ball over and do things like that. I'm going to go back to something we've been preaching on this program since last year. 44 needs to go down. He needs to put his hand on the ground. He needs to play down. This experiment, him when he plays plays outside, I don't think he's an outside guy. I just don't. I think he could be a dominant down player. Don't you? Or a good one.
Dominant? I don't know.
Okay, good one. He could be better playing down than he would be where he is right now, in my mind.
Pete, who do you put out there then?
Well, Clowney, Justin Houston.
Yeah, you know what? There's games left this season, Pete. If you make that change, which they probably won't do mid-season.
Art Key.
God.
I mean, Clowney has a sack and a half, by the way.
That's great. Good for Clowney. He's not here.
I mean, he's not a great pass rusher, but he's something. He would have been something. They had him in the building, did they not?
Reportedly.
And Tony's point is they didn't even address it. None. Because they got so caught up in their own picks that they didn't think they needed to address it. See, and that's when GMs sometimes get in trouble, Tony, is I drafted this guy first overall. He is going to take the next step. I don't need any help for him. Well,
Pete, I had this conversation, and I'm not going to say who it was with. And it wasn't about us. It wasn't about Trent or anyone else. But we were talking about GMs in general. And I've said this before, I think, on this show. My gauge of what I think makes one of the key characteristics of a great GM is an individual who is unafraid to admit their mistake really quickly. It's the teams that languish. The teams that languish are the ones that have GMs and leadership that refuse to own up to their mistake and say, hey, got it wrong, time to pivot. And then they end up doubling down on those decisions, and it hurts the franchise, it hurts the team in the long run.
And that's where you get the sometimes you get the problems with the coach, because the coach will be sitting there saying, hey, we should be playing him over here. And yeah, you know how that works out. That's why you get rifts in the building and everything. I'm not saying that's happening in Jacksonville. I'm just saying I've known it's happened around the league many a time. I work with a GM every Sunday, a former NFL GM. He was an NFL GM forever. And he won't admit his mistakes. I tell him all the time. I go, that's a mistake. You didn't like him. You liked him. You know,
Spielman, right?
They don't admit their mistakes. Rick Spielman, yeah, they don't. And he was a really good GM for a long time, but they don't admit. Tony's right. They don't admit their mistakes.
But the good ones do.
Who are the longest tenured GMs right now? I'm just curious.
He was one of the longest tenured guys of Minnesota.
Yeah.
Needless to say, I sit there and say Christian Ponder's name every day, but that's a whole other story.
Of course.
No, but you know what I'm saying? And by the way, I'm not saying Trayvon's a mistake. It's still 3 games into his second year.
Correct.
So, I'm not saying that. You're saying right now he's not that guy.
Right now he's a mistake until he proves otherwise.
And so, which I never understood this offseason, why aren't we going to get a veteran pass rusher when we lost Arden Key, when there was a bunch out there?
You know who had 2 sacks yesterday?
Aiden Hudson did, I know that.
Yeah, he did. And he got 1 rushing inside on the guard. I mean...
He also had a forced fumble and a fumble recovery and 2 passes defense.
This isn't bash Trayvon Walker Day. That's not what it is.
No. We're talking about the defense in general, and we're talking about...
But as it relates to Trayvon Walker, and he's not responsible for where he was picked, as the first overall pick in the draft, he's producing no pressure. So as of right now, he is a miss until he proves otherwise. You drafted him to be a pass rusher. He's got 1 sack.
Pete, I guess I disagree. I don't like labeling someone after 3 games or in their second season as a miss. I just disagree with you. I mean, you can.
As of right now, he can change the narrative.
You can put all the qualifiers you want on it, Pete. I just don't think that's right. My whole point is, I think it was a bad bet. Number 1.
Okay.
Let me just say it. I think it was a bad bet to bet your defense on that Trayvon Walker and Devin Lloyd and some of these younger players like a Chad Movement were going to take this big step and we're going to be big contributors to change this defense. Because I saw nothing at any point last year that made you say they were ready to take that step into what you needed them to be. Now, I can make an argument more for Devin Lloyd because Devin, it felt like everyone thought it was more mental, him just getting comfortable in the position. So you would think that would happen after second year. As far as skill set of a pass rusher, did we ever see last year the skill set of a pure pass rusher from Trayvon Walker? No. Doesn't mean he's not a hell of a football player. He's physical as crap and he's disruptive in other ways, but he's not a pass rusher. And so the fact that we didn't do anything In fact, we went backwards because we lost Arden Key, who was a 5-sack guy, but had a bunch of pressures and was active and brought good rotation in. We let him go. I disagreed this offseason. I said it. I disagree now with the bet that we made. But
was it a bad bet? You talk about bad bet. Was it a bad bet to pick Trayvon Walker first overall? I mean, it was a questionable pick when they made it. They were projecting. They were projecting a college player to become an elite pass rusher on the next level when he wasn't an elite pass rusher in college. That's projecting. So as of right now, the projection has not worked.
I'll say this. I actually, the last several years, if you notice, whenever we talk about the draft, I stay away from the draft because I don't do the work. And now you probably have more room to talk about the draft because you do more work than I just don't go watch every college kid's tape and everything else. I watch Saturday football, mostly SC, as a fan, which, by the way, your Sun Devils played well, but we played crappy and we still beat you by 14.
You were scared there for a little while, though.
No.
Not really.
No.
They could never stop.
No chance.
No.
By the way, that tight end at ASU number 12 is a damn good player, isn't he? Big kid.
Great. I don't care. You're in our rearview mirror. So I don't study. So I'm not going to sit here and debate pick by pick of what Trent did or any other GM does because this is what they do for a living. I have no problem having questions and giving my opinion around the state of the football team I watch a lot of tape on and spend a lot of time around, which is the Jacksonville Jaguars. And so I'm not going to get into whether Trayvon was the right pick or not. I will say this as an overall philosophy. I don't think you pick a guy and project him to do something that he never did in college or showed he could do in college with a top first-round pick. I think you make those projections, those bets, maybe later in the first, second, third, and really you want to make those bets in the second, third, fourth round.
Would you from a
philosophical standpoint, I just don't think you make those bets. I think when you pick a guy in the top 10, you are saying, this dude, I see what he can do, and I'm bringing him to do what he does.
Would you take Hutchinson over Trayvon Walker right now for this defense?
I think for what we need as far as a pass rusher, Aiden Hutchinson is a better pure pass rusher from the defensive end standpoint than Trayvon Walker.
And by the way, real quick,
Yep.
Kayvon Thibodeau hasn't done anything either.
No.
He has not.
He has not.
No.
Indeed.
And I thought he would be good.
And I've watched tape on him, and to me, he's a one-trick pony. He has speed and nothing else, and if that's all you have in this league, you're not going to make it. And I don't think he has, like, exceptional bend around the corner or anything like that, that if you have speed and great bend, that makes it difficult. But, and this is not a referendum on Trayvon Walker, whether he's a valuable part of our team and a good football player. We're talking about pass rush. And when you can't get anywhere close to the most sacked quarterback in the NFL, who has 4 backup offensive linemen playing, that's problematic. And you allowed a rookie quarterback to sit in the pocket, be comfortable, and by the way, whoever in the hell picked Bryce Young over C.J. Stroud, I mean, I watched both of them this week. And maybe Bryce Young's going to be a great player. And, again, I don't watch
He's little. He's little.
I saw him on the field, and I'm like, oh, my.
Yeah.
And now his ankles hurt, and they always said he had the wrist of a 17-year-old. That's not a good thing.
Hey, let's come back.
He's just a slight. I'm not saying he can't. He's smart. He can sling it.
But he's little.
He's just little.
We got to go.
CJ Stroud
We'll come
not
back.
little, and he can sling it.
We'll come back. We got to keep it real when we come back. Not that we just haven't for the last 18 minutes of this second hour of Jaguars Happy Hour. I think we certainly did. We're on 1010XL AM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube. PRI Productions, the official event production company of the Jags, has everything you need to bring your next idea to life. Visit PRIProductions.com. It's Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dreamfinders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamfindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
As the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Publix is helping fans gear up for game day with the limited-time Jaguars sub. Piled high with hot deli chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, cheddar cheese, coleslaw, and barbecue mayonnaise on a white sub roll. The Jaguars sub is an easy, delicious meal for any fan. Make it an ultimate game day by ordering the Jaguars sub online for in-store pickup. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Taylor Dahl here for Renewal by Anderson. You will love your new custom windows and doors. For a limited time, buy 4 windows or patio doors and get the 5th free. The first 50 callers get a free upgrade to TrueScene window screens, plus easy payment plans tailored to fit your budget. Offer expires August 31st. Restrictions apply. Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com. License number CGC 1527613.
It's football season and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 46 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at jaguars.com/shadows. One winner a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase to enter or win, must be 18 or older and a legal resident of Florida or Georgia. Promotion period 9/5/23 through 12/15/23. For official rules and complete details, visit jaguars.com. Sponsored by Jacksonville Jaguars, LLC.
I thought we had a good plan. Plan doesn't mean anything, though, if you don't go execute it, so it doesn't really matter how good your plan was if you don't make the plays, so it doesn't really matter. But I thought we had a good plan. I thought we did some things well. I thought we were in rhythm almost the whole day, then we would just shoot ourselves in the foot repeatedly. Just couldn't get out of our own way, but I didn't ever feel like they were doing anything that we weren't prepared for, that, I think we stayed in a rhythm. I don't know if we had any 3 and outs today. I thought we were moving the ball consistently, and we would just make that play that you don't need to make. We did that 5 or 6 times. So
that's the quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, after the game. Lost 37-17 to the Houston Texans in Week 3. The Jaguars are now 1-2. All right, hey, we didn't get to the AFC South power rankings, by the way. The Jaguars are no longer in first place in the division. So, are there changes to the AFC South power rankings for Pete Prisco and Tony Boselli? Pete, what do you got for us?
Yep, Colts are number 1. Jacksonville's number 2. The type, or maybe I should put the Texans number 2.
Pete, it's not like it was a fluke. They just beat us by 17 points or 14 points, whatever it was.
20.
But again, don't you get the idea that 37-17?
Did you not listen to the intro of this segment? I said 37-17, Tony. You're not paying attention?
So Tony,
not you. No.
If they played again 10 times, you think the Texans would win 7 of them? I don't.
Oh, you do?
No.
I think the Jaguars will win 8 out of 10.
So you think the Jaguars are a better team then? So how can you put the Texans ahead of them?
Because they just beat us by 20 at home.
So, okay, because I'm doing my power rankings for tomorrow. Where do I put the Texans ahead of the Jaguars?
Pete, hold on. Here's my point. In the last 11 matchups, they beat us 10 times. In the last 6 home games, they've beaten us every time. As much as I just dislike every other team in the division in the NFL besides the Jaguars, how do you put us in front of them right now?
You don't. So it's 1 Colts, 2 Texans, 3 Jacksonville, 4 Titans. Or are you putting Jacksonville in the cellar?
To me, right now there's not a good team in the AFC South. The Colts are the best team. Because we all forget this. In a rookie making his first start ever, they had a lead in the fourth quarter against us.
Yeah, but you could also say this. If you don't go for it on 4th and 5 from the 45 or whatever it was, it's 3-0 at the half against the Super Bowl champs, and you might be thinking differently about that team. I mean, you could do that all the time, Tony.
But my point is saying this is what I was trying to get at. This is why the NFL is the greatest ever, because you actually have no idea.
Zero.
And that's why we do these power rankings, and they're really stupid because they don't mean anything at the end of the day. Nothing. And that's why I always laugh at people like you, Pete. Not in a bad way. It just makes me chuckle because everyone does power rankings.
It's clickbait. Come on, Tony. You know that.
Oh, I know it is. It's fun. But it's really – the NFL is set up where it does not matter. It's what happens on Sunday. The Arizona Cardinals with Josh Dobbs just beat a team a week ago we all thought was one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the NFC.
And destroyed them. It wasn't a fluke.
Destroyed them. And by the way, it was Dobbs.
200 yards.
It was his first win ever as a starting quarterback.
Gardner Minshew went into Baltimore and beat the Ravens. I mean, you can't figure this out. We were trying to gauge.
And he pulled the Dan Orlovsky.
Yeah, we were trying to gauge the what was the worst loss of the good teams that. Okay, the Cowboys' loss is the worst one. They were 12.5-point favorites and got dominated. Jacksonville's is the second worst, and then the Ravens is the next worst. But those 3 teams were top 10 teams in the power rankings last week.
Not anymore. Maybe.
No.
Hey,
so I guess my point is saying the AFC South. I mean, right now the way I feel after losing to 20 by that Texans with his rookie quarterback and 8 starters out, 8. Put us last. Put us last in the power rankings. Put us 32nd. Actually, I can't put us below the Bears. It's impossible.
You can't put them below the Broncos either.
Or the Broncos. Sorry, put us 30th. I don't care. Actually, because it goes back to what Doug said. All the press clippings and all the love everyone got in the offseason and blah, 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 blah. And everyone drank the Kool-Aid and everyone's, we're going to win. We're going to – Pete Prisco has us going to the Super Bowl and Tony has us going to the AFC Championship game. And, it's Peter King's darling and, all the different things. Guess what that means? Nothing. When you line up on Sunday, nobody cares. Go play. Until we start playing better, Pete, put us last.
I said that yesterday when we were watching the game. I said if they lose next week to Atlanta, I might dig a hole and start throwing them in with a shovel, put the shovel ready. And somebody said in that division you can't do it. You can never do that this year. You can't bury anybody in that division. I mean, I thought this team was going to run away with that division.
I did too, Pete.
Yeah. Hey, let's come back in a moment. We'll keep it real when we come back. We'll also get Fanatics fan questions. We're going to double dip when we return.
Like it.
It's a lot to get to. We've gotten through a lot already on this program. After a Jaguars loss to the Texans, this is Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gates frequent shopper clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
Have you noticed? It's raining a lot in our area lately. That means you can give your sprinklers a break and save some money in the process. Lawns only need water up to twice a week, and that can come from rain. So before you run your sprinklers, remember to watch the weather and wait to water. For more information, visit waterlessflorida.com.
It's football season, and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 46 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Everyone wins when two great traditions team up. Yucatan Guacamole is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Our authentic guacamole recipe starts with hand-scooped avocados and ends up in your hands fresh and ready to enjoy. Grab some on game day at the Yucatan Cantina or Yucatan nacho carts around the stadium or at local retail stores. Sack your snack game with Yucatan Guacamole.
The kick is up. It's good!
Score winning sub deals this Jaguars regular season at Firehouse Subs. Get 2 medium subs for just $10 after any game when the Jaguars kick a field goal of 40 yards or more. It's a bold deal for the bold city. Sign up at firehousesubs.com/field goals for Firehouse for offer details and to automatically receive this offer when you use your Firehouse Subs rewards account. Redeemable only at participating Jacksonville and Orlando area restaurants. Only available on the Firehouse Subs app and online ordering.
Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings. Hour number 2 of the program. J.P. Shadrick at the Miller Electric Center. The Hyundai Studios. Pete Prisco, Tony Boselli after a 20-point loss to the Texans. Jaguars are now 1-2. They're headed to London this week. That brings us into Keeping It Real, presented by Woodbridge by Robert Mondavi. Open up a winner today. Real Ingredients, award-winning wine by Robert Mondavi. Still waiting on Bob, by the way, to deliver that wine. However, there's a reason why he hasn't heard us, I think. We'll get to that another time. Hey, the question this week, will the London game bring this group together?
I don't understand that whole philosophy. What are they talking?
I'm with you, Pete. I'm not sure what that means.
I think the idea is that they are together for what? They'll be on the ground for 10 days there, 2 different resorts out in the countryside, practice on the grounds, don't really leave the grounds.
So what's the itinerary? So you land, they're going Thursday for this game, right?
Correct.
Or
They arrive Friday morning. There'll be an afternoon Friday practice at one resort northwest of town where a practice field is right there. The team has stayed there before. Then they play the game at Wembley. There's a walkthrough Saturday, game at Wembley Sunday. After the Sunday game, they have to change hotels. So they're going to a different resort closer to Tottenham, northeast of town. The same idea. They'll be out there all week with a practice field Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, play the game at Spurs.
Okay,
and then
so this is going to make, because they're going to eat together and hang out together. They eat together and hang out together all day during the season. All day. They're in the facility all day. I've never understood that. Would they rather be there with their teammates or home with their families? I mean, no. You hear coaches say that all the time. We went for a week between our games, and it helped galvanize the team. Give me a break. I don't buy it. Go play. Go play.
I love when Pete just throws everything out and says, I don't buy any of it.
Do you?
I think change of scenery can help, Pete. I do.
So here's one. I mean, if players are saying that, Pete, then are there distractions here that they need to get away from?
Last time I checked, the field is the same. Once you get the ball kicked off, you're on the same field, right? It's the same size field. I mean, okay, everybody has distractions, whether you're in London or in Jacksonville. The same distractions are going to be there. You still got issues. And aren't you together, Tony? When you play during the NFL season, you go in the morning and you leave at, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock usually. And so that time you're all together anyways.
Yeah, Pete, to me, it's less about being, I mean, you're probably together a little bit more on the road because you're not going home. My point is more about, I think just sometimes change of scenery is just good for everybody.
You know, yeah, I get, maybe.
I'm not saying there's anything magic about it. It's kind of like just doing something, when you're in a slump or you're in a funk, just doing anything different.
You gotta bust the slump.
Well, maybe they should volunteer to play back-to-back road games on the West Coast every year. Then they could just stay over and make themselves a better football team. I mean, come on. It just Tony's laughing. He's trying not to laugh. You're trying not to laugh. I never have bought the whole idea of that. I just don't.
You don't buy that just changing your kind of changing the location or the surroundings and just different feel.
Hey, let's get on a bus and go to practice. No, I want to drive my car into the practice facility from my home. I don't want to be.
I get that. I'm saying to change up if you're in a funk. You don't think it helps? It does anything.
You're 3 games in. You're talking about a funk? I mean, it's one bad. One bad game.
Okay.
One really bad game.
They didn't play bad. They didn't play well against Kansas City either.
Kansas City's a good team, and we were in it in the fourth quarter. I don't have no.
Okay. Offensively, they've not played a good game yet. They didn't play good against Indy.
They have not. They have not. Offensively, they're in a funk. I would agree. From what we expected from them, they're definitely in a funk.
My favorite.
Maybe London's going to be good for Trevor Lawrence.
As we're having this conversation, my lovely wife is next to me. Because it's getting late here and she wants to go to bed. And she's listening and she says, has Pete ever been on a team in his life before? And I just shook I guess not.
Been on plenty of teams, but you know what? There's an I tell your wife there's an I in Prisco. A big fat I.
Right in the middle. Right in the middle of it. That was Keeping It Real, presented by Woodbridge by Robert Mondavi. Open up a winner today. Real Ingredients, award-winning wine by Robert Mondavi. Yes, Tony.
So, Pete, you don't think, there's value when you go to camp as a team and you're in camp and you're built like in the old days when there was really camp. You don't think that built the team and the closeness of a team and everything else?
Maybe when you were in high school, but when you got modern everyday problems, because your 95 team was so close after you spent the whole summer in Stevens Point beating the daylights out of each other.
We developed a lot of close relationship, like mental toughness together. Yeah. It's the same thing.
You went home on the jet. What are you talking about? You were there for
half you're the private jet, Tony.
Hey, JP, let's not. Pete is now just arguing to argue, and he's being an idiot.
I get what you're saying. Is there bonding? Can you bond on a trip? Can you bond on a trip? Yes. To answer your question, yes.
you're being a jackass. So
No,
I'm
I'm
just
not. You can bond on a trip. I'm agreeing with
now
you.
he's being a jackass.
No,
I
you can-
didn't
but I don't
know
think
the
it's gonna make
last
you play
7
any
years.
better. I don't
were-
think it's going to make you play any better. You're going to make new friends, maybe, if that's what you want. I mean, here's the other thing. Sometimes when you go out on a new trip, you go somewhere on a new trip, you end up like the one year in London after the game. You don't want that to happen.
Stop.
Time now for Fanatics fan questions. Jaguars fans gear up at Fanatics.com with all the latest Jag styles. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything. We put the cat signal out on X. Here are the best posts we've come up with. At Alex Van Dyke 3, given the personnel on the defensive front, are there any major changes that can be made, bringing in people, switching positions or scheme, or do we just hope someone can figure it out?
Figure it out. They got to figure it out. And if they can't figure it out, I think Tony's right. They got to start blitzing more. Take your chances.
Well, they blitzed yesterday on that third down at the end, right? 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, and didn't get close to the kid.
Yeah, but Tony's right. If you can't just status quo cannot stay. If you can't get pressure against an offensive line with 4 backups and a rookie quarterback, you got a problem. And by the way, he's not exactly the most mobile guy. He had that run when he got outside.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to pressure the quarterback. So Tony's right. I agree with him. Blitz if you have to.
Heat him up. At Bortles Nation, am I the only one that feels like Lawrence tries to force it to Ridley when Ingram and Kirk are open? Look at the second half. He got them involved and moved the ball.
I didn't feel like they were forcing it to Ridley yesterday. I never felt like they were in any rhythm. And yeah, okay, great. They started moving the ball. Trevor said it best. They moved the ball. They just couldn't finish drives. They were terrible on 3rd down, especially in the first half. I never
They
felt
adjusted in the second half. They adjusted in the second half a little bit, though.
a little bit.
Like I'll give you an example. You know the post corner route, the post corner route that Kirk caught for the touchdown. In the first half, he ran that same route, and I said all he's got to do is bend that back, because he ran right into the safety, and there was, they were playing a single high, and there was nobody there. And then he did it the second time. But there was some talk, and I don't know is this true? Doug took over play calling duties in the second half.
No, he was asked that again today, and he said that is not accurate. He did not.
Okay.
That's what he said. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Next question at GDS Athena. I think it is ignorant of throwing all the darts on Trevor. How do we get our fan base to stop all hate? And do you suspect Cam Robinson addition to solve some of the O-line issues?
Well, let's start with the first one. Welcome to being a franchise quarterback. You're gonna get all the praise and all the arrows. So that's just part of playing that position. I promise you, Trevor's just fine with it. Now, do I think some of the comments on Twitter and everywhere else are nonsense? Yes, I'll say it. Said it last year, I'll say it again. Trevor's a superstar. He's going to be a franchise quarterback. He's going to win a Super Bowl with his franchise. Is he playing well right now? No. Great. Did Joe Burrow play well the first 2 weeks of the year, Pete?
No.
Okay, is he a good player?
Great player.
Did he play good the first 2 weeks last year when they were 0-2?
No. Did Josh Allen play good in his first game this year? They were burying the guy. Nope. There's overreaction. This Trevor stuff is a grade A overreaction. But I will say he's pressing, and he's taking easy throws in lieu of taking the tougher throw or waiting for the tougher throw. And I gotta go back to what I said earlier in the show. The interior of the offensive line has sped him up and sped the play calling up.
Next question at DTWD2882. Tell Pete to stop predicting good things for this team. Every time he does, it ends in disappointment. The curse of Pete Prisco needs to end today. Jags fans need to unite and perform some kind of ritual to end this curse.
Wow,
hey,
you.
Well, I thought they would lose in the Super Bowl. So you want me to? I mean, come on. Hey, here's the thing. I picked them to win because I thought they'd have a good team. I was wrong. I'm wrong right now. Right now, I can admit I'm wrong. But they can change that. Just like I was making the assumption that they made. That Trayvon Walker, Devin Lloyd, Andre Cisco, who's a good player, by the way, has gotten better. Those guys would all take steps forward. They haven't. Luke Fortner, another one. Is he taking a step forward, Tony? No.
What kind of ritual could we do?
A little one.
A little one, Tony?
Yeah, he was a little bit. He wasn't awful. I'll be honest with you. Watching the tape yesterday, today, I didn't think he was awful yesterday.
No, I think he's better than he was last year. Is he remarkably better? No.
No. The left guard's an issue. That's a problem.
What kind of ritual could we do to reverse this Pete Prisco curse? What could we do, Tony?
You play better, or maybe you know what you should do? They should go on the road and bond together for a couple weeks. That'll fix everything.
Well, we're about to find out if that will work.
I'm not sure. I don't really believe in these silly curses people say. Like, what was the when the Red Sox couldn't win forever? The curse of the Bambino and the
Billy Goat curse for the Cubs.
There was a Cubs curse.
Billy Goat
curse or something.
Billy Goat curse.
There's a Detroit Lions curse too after they traded Bobby Lane or whatever. Hey, here's one, Tony. We double locked it last week. Maybe we should not do that.
So let's go to our final question. The final question of the day is from somebody you guys both know. At Andrew Boselli, is the double lock officially dead?
No, it's not, son.
No, it's not.
Mind your own business, kid.
Don't you have something you should be doing, kid? Do something.
Do your chore. Go to bed.
He's like 26, 28. How old is he now?
You and the wife were gone for a couple days. He's probably in the middle of having a good old time.
He does not. If he was in high school, he would be, but he doesn't live at home anymore, so he can do whatever he wants whenever.
Yeah, but when he was in high school, you know he did.
I'd rather not remember that.
So the double lock, is it dead?
No. Heck no. You don't give up on one bad moment.
You can't give up on the double lock, even though we looked like two idiots because it wasn't even close.
That's not why you look like two idiots, by the way.
What's worse, our double lock from this week or the fact that I picked this team to go to the Super Bowl?
A lot of football left, Pete. A lot of football left.
I'm going to say the double lock because the Super Bowl is not out of the question.
Thank God they're in a bad division. That's all I have to say. I mean, seriously, if they lost this week to Atlanta, we'd be sitting there saying they're done. But even if they lost to Atlanta, they're not done. Not in that division.
We were 6 games back with 7 to play, and we won the division.
Right. You can't bury anybody.
There you have it. The Fanatics fan questions are in. Thank you for the submissions. Even you, Andrew. Very nice. If you're a Jags fan who's always on the move, we've got the perfect plan for you with the bundle at the bank. You can purchase tickets to 3 or more games starting at $58 per game. What a deal. Get the flexibility you want for your time this fall. Visit jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We'll look around the NFL in Week 3 and preview the double dip of Monday Night Football after this. It's Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game. Ever wish you could make your Mondays go a little smoother? Here's a pro tip. Order online to dodge the line and kick off your week with free Coffee Mondays. Every Monday through October 30th, Dunkin' Rewards members can get a free medium hot or iced coffee with any purchase. And you get to earn points to spend on even more free Dunkin'. Not a member? Join Dunkin' Rewards on the app and get even more Dunkin' deals. Nothing beats Dunkin' Rewards. Jaguars run on Dunkin'. Limit 1 per member per Monday. Additional charges and terms may apply. Exclusions may apply. Participation may vary. Limited time offer.
The kick is up. It's good.
Score winning sub deals this Jaguars regular season at Firehouse Subs. Get 2 medium subs for just $10 after any game when the Jaguars kick a field goal of 40 yards or more. It's a bold deal for the bold city. Sign up at firehousesubs.com/field goals for Firehouse for offer details and to automatically receive this offer when you use your Firehouse Subs rewards account. Redeemable only at participating Jacksonville and Orlando area restaurants. Only available on the Firehouse Subs app and online ordering.
Are you ready to elevate your tailgate experience, Jaguars fans? Citrus Distillers, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is excited to announce the 2023 Jaguars Limited Edition Whiskey Bottle. Now available at Total Wine and other participating retailers. Elevate your tailgate experience, Jaguars fans. The 2023 Jaguars Limited Edition Whiskey Bottle. Duval!
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey Jags fans, stop dreaming of creating your game day fan cave and build the Jaguars den of your dreams with ZipChair. When it comes to maximum comfort, ZipChair.com is the only place for officially licensed Jaguars recliners, sofas, bar stools, office and gaming chairs, all featuring high-quality embroidered Jags logos. Crack open a few cold ones in the comfort of a ZipChair and make your home the place to be on game day. Head over to ZipChair.com and save 20% today. Use code JagsRadio at checkout. ZipChair.com, furniture for fans.
You're seeing, the drops. You're seeing the turnovers. You're seeing penalties, untimely penalties. You're seeing flashes of, excellence and brilliance, and then a setback. And it's just the consistency that we needs to improve, and it's not there right now. We got to continue to work and continue to get better. Figure some things out.
Doug Peterson, after yesterday's loss to the Houston Texans, welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings. J.P. Shadrick from the Hyundai Studios inside the Miller Electric Center on the couch today. Pete Prisco, Tony Boselli along with us as always. And
you should have laid down on the couch and done half the show laying down, JP.
I might not get back up. You never know. Pete, after all these wings, these Mr. Chubby's wings we got. What a day. What a day. For 10 years, Dreamfinders Homes has been proud to call themselves the official home builder of the Jaguars. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for all the available inventory, and go Jags. Let's go around the National Football League and some of the scores from yesterday. The Lions over the Falcons, 26 was the final score. We mentioned Hutchinson, a couple sacks, 2 passes defense, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, all over the place. Are the Lions for real, Pete?
Well, they lost at home to Seattle last week, so who the hell knows? I mean, nobody has any idea in this league. You just don't. But, yeah, I mean, that's a good football team. And I think they got a great offensive coordinator, and they got one heck of a quarterback coach, too, because he's made Jared Goff into a pretty good player. Mark Brunell.
Yeah, I've heard of him, yeah. Packers over the Saints, 18-17 the final score in that one. But, boy, the Miami Dolphins, 70-20, and they gave up the chance to go for the regular season record for scoring in a game by a single team. The record was 72. The all-time NFL record, including playoffs, is 73. They could have tied that with a field goal. They took a knee.
Yeah, but there's some people around the league, too, that kind of think that they might have ran it up a little bit anyways. And so if you did
on
that,
the last touchdown, Pete, they're running over left guard. What are they supposed to do?
Yeah,
take a knee there? Tackle the guy.
It was a little that would have been tacky to kick the field goal, though. Come on.
I agree with that.
That would have been.
Yeah.
And Denver's a disaster. He kept Russell Wilson in the game. It was like, what are you doing? I mean, it was bad. Miami's Miami's so good because they're so fast. You know, Tony, we talk about speed. They're so
Speed
fast. It's
kills.
amazing. It makes you defend them differently. You got to do so many different things.
And
And
Waddle-
now they got the rookie running back who can fly.
Yeah, and Waddle wasn't even in the game, Pete.
No.
They still killed him.
But we'll know more about them this week. They play Buffalo at Buffalo. And Buffalo's owned them in recent years. And here's the other thing. Buffalo had 9 sacks on Sunday.
37-3 win over the Commanders for the Bills.
We get to play them in 2 weeks.
In London.
9 sacks, Tony. 9. And nobody had more than 1.5.
Wow.
Would you rather play them in London or in Orchard Park? London.
London.
Oh.
But here's the other thing. The switch from Leslie Frazier to Sean McDermott, it goes back to what we were saying, Tony. They're much more aggressive now than they were. And you know, maybe Jacksonville needs to get a little of that going, too.
Chargers over the Vikings, 28-24. The Patriots beat the Jets, 15-10. Seahawks over the Panthers.
One quick note on the Vikings-Chargers game.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys saw it, but the game was not high scoring, but a lot of offense. The Chargers had a 4th and 1 from their own 24 with 1:51 in the game, and he went for it.
Why?
It didn't make it. He
Why?
didn't make it. And then they had 24 yards, and they couldn't get a touchdown because he threw the Vikings rushed at the end of the thing, and they had time, and he threw a pass, and it hit off the receiver's hands and popped in the air, and they picked him off in the end zone. Otherwise, he loses the game. Can you imagine? Brandon Staley put his job on the line, basically, at 0-3. He would have been 0-3 to go for it from his own 24 with 1:51 left in the game, and they needed a touchdown to win the game.
That's asinine. Who
Crazy.
does that?
Moron. It's as bad as Josh McDaniels kicking a field goal down 8 on 4th and 4 from the 8-yard line last night with a little over 2 minutes left.
So
Did you
I guess,
see that?
yeah, I saw that last night. He had 3 timeouts and the 2-minute warning left, right?
And 4th and 4 from the 8. You need 8 points. What are you doing? The field goal doesn't do you any good.
You got to stop him twice. Yeah, that's right. Oof, rough one. Steelers won that game 23-18. Cardinals over the Cowboys 28-16. What happened in Dallas?
They gave up 200 yards rushing.
Oof.
Dak Prescott threw a bad interception late in that game when they were getting back into it in the end zone.
Is that something other teams can expose the Cowboys, their run defense?
Yes. They're fast, but remember they drafted that kid Mozzie Smith to make the run defense better, and I think you can expose them. They're not big.
Well, he's not a big man.
No. And Parsons moves around all over the place, and he's not big either.
And finally, the Chiefs over the Bears, 41-10 the final score. The Chiefs look to be back on track. Not that they...
That wasn't the news from that. The news from that game isn't the final score. Taylor Swift was at the game to watch to see Travis Kelce.
I could tell by every single other shot besides football was her in the box.
Yeah. I think Kelsey's just trying to use it for Clyde. Do you think they're really dating? I don't. Nor do I care.
How about this? I don't care.
Right.
You don't care, Pete. You're the one that brought it up. So apparently
that's all
you
they
care.
did was show them all. They showed her all day, the whole game.
I literally don't care.
I don't either.
Apparently you do, Pete. You brought it up.
I don't.
Monday Night Football. It's a double dip. 2 for the price of 1 for the second week in a row. First at 7:15 Eastern. I don't know what time that is in Czechoslovakia. It's a battle of 2-0 teams in the NFC. Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles visit Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Then at 8:15, 2 teams trying to figure it out. Stafford and the Rams and the 0-2 Bengals. Calf watch for Joe Burrow. Reportedly expected to give it a go tonight. Who you got on Monday Night Football?
I got the Eagles and the Bengals.
I got the Eagles, but very, very close, and I got the Bengals. Look, Joe Burrow and the Bengals are desperate. He has to play in the game. They go to 0-3. They're basically done in that division.
There you have it. The picks are in. I guess it's the Czech Republic, right? It's not even Czechoslovakia.
And by the way, I don't think our buddy in the Czech Republic's going to make it to those games.
No, you're not going to stay.
I will not be watching Monday Night Football tonight. No.
Is it past? It's past dinner time already in the Czech Republic. Did you eat already in the Czech Republic?
It's midnight, Pete.
Oh, God. So what do you go eat when you go out to dinner in the Czech Republic?
Oh, got a great dinner tonight. Had some. I had what I have. I had lamb. No, not lamb. Veal tongue.
Veal tongue.
Oh, it was outstanding.
What does it taste like?
Like really tender veal. I know, like veal. I had some Dover sole, which is nice white fish.
Surf and turf.
That was it. It was good.
The old Czech surf and turf.
Well, the veal tongue was a appetizer.
Veal tongue and sole.
It's like, let me look at this menu and I'll order the veal tongue. Come on.
They recommended it. I asked them what to recommend.
You got a burger anywhere in this place? Come on.
Come on, Pete.
So is that the
got here? So I was at the hotel restaurant. We're sitting in a nice, great hotel, and I asked the waiter, like, what do you recommend? And they said, the veal tongue for the appetizer. I'm like, I'm in.
What do you do in the Czech Republic? Go look for Jaromir Jagr's house or something? What do you do?
I don't know. I know what's going to happen in London, though. We've got the Jags Country concert Thursday night. Tony and I will be there at Wembley Arena. Pete will talk to you on Monday from the Pavilion
have a
Inn
good
Pub.
bonding experience in London, guys.
Pete Prisco, Tony Boselli, and thanks to our entire crew. I'm J.P. Shadrick. Thanks to you for listening. Joe Fortunato, Brent Reaver, Andrea Curry, Eric Laringa, William Pease, Kate Waskey, all the rest. Thanks for listening. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. Catch you next time.